standing here with this heart, with this heart, with this heart. Oh, Mother, I am standing here. Moon Mother, I am praying here. I am dreaming here with this heart, with this heart, with this heart. Oh, Mother, I am standing here. Sky Mother, I am praying here. I am soaring here with this heart, with this heart, with this heart. Oh, Mother, I am standing here. Star Mother, I am praying here. I am loving here with this heart, with this heart, with this heart. Everybody. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Mother, I am standing here. Serpent Mother, I am dancing here. I am praying here with this heart, with this heart, with this heart. Oh, Mother, I am standing here. Spirit Mother, I am praying here. I am grounding here. I am melting here. I am singing here. I am breathing here. I am thanking here with this heart, with this heart, with this heart. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, pray with us. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. So, this can mean a lot of different things to each of us. That's the bell, okay. It can mean a lot of different things to each of us. So let's start out by saying that today is a day when we see and appreciate those who mother and have mothered. We see and appreciate those who have helped to guide us and shape our ways. We see and appreciate those who add their life energy to make something happen for someone else or for someplace else. We see and acknowledge the feelings we may bring to this day, as varied as they may be. We remember those who mother who may no longer be with us. And as we hold all of these things and more, because like any days, but even more so, Mother's Day can be complicated. So as we hold all of these and more, we reach out to one another as we celebrate this Mother's Day. Come, let us worship together. I think we get to hear some more from Everly and Jedi now. Yay. I don't know which one she is.
pangbata sa piling ni nanay. Nais kong maulit ang awit ni nang mahal, awit ng pag-ibig habang ako'y nasa duyan. Sa aking pagtulog, nalabis ang himbing. Ang bantay ko'y tala, ang tanod ko'y bituin sa piling ni nanay. Langit ang buhay, puso kong may dusa, sabik sa bugoy ng duyan. How I wish the days would not fade when I was a babe in my mother's embrace. I sing again the song of love she sang to me while swinging me in her cradle. As I fell asleep with stars that were so deep, the Venus star watched and the stars guided me. I wish to sing again the song of my beloved mother. I wish to be in her arms, which is a life of heaven. Oh, Mama, oh, Mama. Sa aking pagtulog, nalabis ang himbing. Ang bantay ko'y tala, ang tanod ko'y bituin sa piling ni nanay. Langit ang buhay, puso kong may dusa, sabik sa ugoy ng duyan. Ibig kong matulog sa dating duyan ko, inay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley. I'm Jason. I will be your worship associate today. This is a welcoming congregation, and we're always working how better to welcome and care for one another. If this is your first time here, we're so glad that you've come. And whoever you are, we welcome you in the fullness of who you are. As we begin, we want to acknowledge that this church occupies land in Huchin, the unceded territory of the Chochenyo-speaking Olón people. We understand that we continue to benefit from the seizure and occupation of this land. We acknowledge and embrace our responsibility to take restorative action. We affirm that this is deeply felt and commit our congregation to be in right relationship with Indigenous communities, aligning in solidarity, supporting Indigenous projects, and caring properly for the land. So, please take a moment to prepare yourself for our time together. If you're online, you might get a candle and a way to light it so that you can join the chalice lighting at home. Now, as Reverend Michelle lights the chalice flame, let's kindle our own flames along with her to the words by Denise Cowley. This chalice is lit for those who illuminate our paths, to ignite gratitude for gifts shared generously. We witness the resilience of mamas and maternal figures. Our gratitude extends to goddesses who cradle us in our darkest nights, sparking our fierce feminine energy, guiding us to be audacious warriors for justice. We also pause to remind ourselves of some of the foundations of resilience. With Reverend Michelle, we light a candle of courage, a candle of acts of service, a candle of fellowship, and a candle of hope. May we find and cultivate these foundations of resilience in ourselves and in one another. Now, please join us in singing our opening song, a Divine Mother chant. The words will be on the screen.
Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, divine mother, divine mother, divine mother. I'll sing it, and then you'll sing after me, all right? Engrossed is the bee of my mind. Sing that much. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. On the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind. Your turn. On the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Listen. Divine mother, my divine mother. Sing that much. Divine mother, my divine mother. 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 Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother. Everyone together. Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, 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 my Divine Mother. Divine. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother.
Please join me in saying our covenant. Love guides this church. The quest for truth and justice is its common purpose. To give thanks, listen deeply, speak with care, honor our differences, and seek and grant forgiveness. These things we covenant with one another.
All right, I've got a story this morning for those who are young and young at heart. Anybody who'd like to come up for our story time? And yes, I have a bulging pocket down here. You'll see what that is in a minute. No magic this morning. Come on, come on. Any other takers? Okay. All right, so y'all know what day it is? I almost got an eye roll with that Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day, right? So I have a story about mothering for you.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day.
All right, so this story is by someone who's named Erin Dyka. So this is Erin's story from when she was your age. Summer vacation, that's coming up right around the corner. How long is it till summer vacation?
I think I have like 26 or 29 more
26 or 29 more
days.
days. Very precise. That is precise, I'm saying.
Some other school districts might have longer.
Some school districts might have longer. I'm surprised it's not counted the hours yet. We'll get there, right? Okay, summer vacation for Erin had just started, and she had gone with her friend to the barn where they kept their horse. We began exercising the horse in the indoor arena, but he seemed to be staying away from a certain spot. Uh-oh. So they went over to investigate and found that there were some baby birds lying in the sand. Here we go, baby bird. There were 4 of them, and all but one had died, either from the fall or from lack of water. But there was one that was still living. Don't ignore the fact it's upside down. It's not assuming the position of a dying cockroach, like my parents like to say. But one had survived. I didn't know if, so my friend thought her family wouldn't let her bring him home, but I didn't want to just leave it to die. So I got a Kleenex box and put some tissues in it, and I brought the baby bird home with me. Y'all want to take turns holding the baby bird? Yeah. Okay, be super careful. Here, cup your hands out. There you go. And hold her for a minute, then pass her around, okay? All right. So the bird was almost a newborn. They only had a tiny bit of fluff on their spine and their wings, and their eyes weren't even open yet, kind of like kittens. They weren't even chirping. Now, my parents and I assumed that the bird wouldn't make it through the night. So we did, okay, we'll let them, live comfortably for the time they've got. We bolstered up the tissue in the box, fed them from a milk dropper, and kept them warm. Well, when I woke up in the morning, I was amazed to hear sounds coming out of the box. Not only had the birds survived the night, but they'd woken up and they were making sounds. Can you make some little bird sounds? Bird sounds? Bird sounds? Oh, I love it. My heart melted. They were so small and fragile, and they looked naked because they didn't have any feathers on them yet. So they had their head, this bird had her head, back, and beak wide open. What does that mean when a bird says that? Bird sitting, head back, mouth wide open. What's the bird want? Food. We didn't know what to feed the bird, so my mom reached out to a bird expert, and you're never going to guess what the expert said to feed this baby bird. Puppy chow. No fooling. Puppy chow. Okay, so we did that. We had to, mush it up, make it wet, mush it up, and, I borrowed a cage from a friend of mine, a big old bird cage, which was way too big for my baby. They were walking around, their foot would fall through the little wires at the bottom, but, we made do. And I mushed up the puppy chow, and you know what? She kept growing. She grew, okay, not feathers. There were little spiny things. Weren't really feathers yet, but okay, we're getting there. Now, the bird expert told us once the tail feathers that began to look like feathers were 1.5 inches long, the bird would start trying to fly. I didn't have to teach her anything. She just started flapping around the cage. I let her out in my room. Cat's locked out of the room, of course. And it was always a lot harder to fit her back in the cage than to let her out. Imagine that. Now, as the bird grew in size, she also grew more annoying. The chirping was very loud, especially early in the morning when I wanted to sleep. They also became harder to take care of. They needed to clean out their cage and to be there every single hour during my summer vacation to soften their food and feed them. And I was already busy with other things most of the time. When I brought the bird home, I thought, it would be cute and fun, and somehow I had the idea I'd take care of her for a little bit, and then she'd fly on her merry way, right? You got to keep holding her, right? Yeah, so that wasn't the way it was. Instead, I had to be there for them. I had to rearrange my life to take care of them. This sound familiar? Mm-hmm. The bird expert told me it would probably take 2 months for this bird would be ready to go out on her own. Exactly. I tried to push her along and make her grow faster, but it doesn't work that way. And finally, after over a month of being constantly annoyed by the responsibility, I was ready to let her go. I had no idea whether or not she was ready to leave, but I think I was just ready for her to leave. So I took her cage outside and opened it, and she just sat there. So I walked away and went inside, and when I came out, she was gone. I went outside for the next few days to see if I ever saw her again. Do you think that Erin saw her again? No, she never saw her again. Honestly, says Erin, I was relieved. But I worried about her chances for survival. She had a weak leg and never could use it very well, and I have no way of knowing if she was able to find enough food. To this day, I wonder if I made the right decision, says Erin. The question of whether or not I was a good mother for my bird still nags at me. So, question for you. Do you think she did the right thing in taking the bird in?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What would have happened if she hadn't?
It would have got too hot, and it might have just, and something that she had cats.
Yep. So it might have gotten too hot, and maybe the cats would have chased the birds, yeah?
Like, it would never learn to survive in the wild. It would just stay there forever.
That it might never learn to survive in the wild. Yeah, that's what can happen when you take in a wild animal, exactly. How'd you feel about the end of the story? So what happened at the end?
The bird flew away.
The bird flew away. How did Erin feel? Was she excited to see the bird fly away?
Sad.
Sad? She was relieved too. Would you want to take on all that work for the bird? For your summer vacation, every hour feeding the bird? Wow. So, What do you think Aaron learned from the experience? Yeah?
Taking care of someone is hard.
Taking care of someone is hard. Yes, uh-huh.
And you can't take home a wild animal or else it can't live.
You can't take a home a wild animal. This one did live, but yes, sometimes they don't. It's maybe not a good idea to take home wild animals. And mothering is hard work, right? Okay, that was like unenthusiastic. Mothering is hard work, right? There we go. Well, thank goodness y'all don't have to do that right now because you get to go to class. Doesn't that sound fun?
Yeah.
All right. So I believe Pierre and Moy are going to take you out to class. So let us, Everly has a song. Oh, thank you. I'll take care of her now. You're free. For each child that's born to the universe, who they are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe, who they are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe, who they are. Welcome, little one. Thank you, Everly and Jedi. Your music is beautiful this morning. So before I go into our usual time of cares and concerns for our community, I thought I would explain something I'm getting a lot of questions about. Why aren't we doing the book? The book where folks would write joys and sorrows, and then it would get read from the pulpit, or lectern, as it were. And I shifted to not doing the book right now for a couple of reasons. One is that I don't know if folks have given permission for their name to be in there, and especially because now, as we are live streaming our services, and the recordings of our service are available online forever, I didn't feel comfortable putting folks' personal information out online forever without knowing their permission was there to do so. And then it's also an interim job to mess with things. So sorry, there's that too. So we're trying out some different things as we kind of try on and see how some different things might work in our service. Having, some experiments for a while, right? But today's Mother's Day. So what I'd like to do now is to invite us into a time of silence and sharing where we open our hearts both for the feelings, however simple or complicated they may be, around our mothers and those who have mothered us. So during our time of silence this morning, what I invite you to do is to speak into this space or write into the comment section if you're viewing this service online, the names of those that you lift up, your mother or others who have mothered you. May even be your own name if you yourself have mothered. So now I invite you to speak the name of our mothers, our many, many mothers, into this space today. Mothering relationships, in the forms they may take, can be beautiful in so many ways. Let us hold and embrace and remember the benefits and the gifts that we have gotten from all of these mothers. I'd like to invite you now into a sort of loving kindness meditation, not a formal metta, but a loving kindness where we're extending our love and feeling out from here. So if you wish, you may close your eyes, settle back into your seat, feel the floor beneath your feet, and take a few cleansing, life-giving breaths, letting them flow through your body, in and out. Let us form in our mind's eye and in our hearts those that we are, the images of those we are reaching out our love towards. Let us start with the people that we love and those who love us. Thankful they are in our lives, obliging us to open our hearts. Let us open our hearts further to embrace the earth, the sea and soil, the stars filling the sky around us, blessed by bold beauty and bounty of being. Then, with hearts open to beauty, let us embrace the arts and the generations of learning that we should have wisdom. Let what wisdom we have, wane and wanting, lead us to strive so the seventh generation henceforth can live more fully. It is in that work and that alone that we can express our thankful spirit. May we make it so. And for the opening to make it so, let us be truly grateful. Amen.
There are two very special people here today that are probably both astonished that knowing me as well as they do, that any church allowed me to cross the threshold, let alone address the congregation from the lectern. One is my mom, and one is my Bubba's mom, and I'm glad they're here with us today. But what does it mean actually to be a mom? To recognize a person as your mom is not saying, you are the woman who gave birth to me. That's your mother, who may or may not be your mom. To call someone mom is not to say, I wish to emulate you in the life choices that I make. That's a role model, which may or may not be true of your mom. To recognize your mom is not to raise her onto a pedestal and throw flowers at her feet. That is a hero, which a mom may or may not be. You do not recognize your mom by reaching out your hand in the dark, asking to be guided to the light. That is a mentor, which may or not be a role that your mom plays. Now, while your mom certainly may be the one who gave birth to you, she may have lived a life worth emulating. She may astonish you with her accomplishments, with her status or renown, and she may coach you toward wise choices. But none of this makes a mom a mom. Mom is the one who takes you in and heals you when you're hurt, feeds you when you're hungry, whispers in your ear, you've got this, son. Mom loves you unconditionally and celebrates everything about you. Mom is the one who appears to you in your darkest hour and at the moment that you take your last breath. Be her in this life or beyond, Mom is the one who is always by your side and lets you know that everything will be all right.
Thank you, Jason, for bringing us excellent perspectives on mothering. But before we get to talking about more mothering, y'all, we got to talk about something else. As I thought, and many of us likely thought this past week, how many more bad things are we going to have to live through and work through and put up through? Were any of y'all surprised with the leaked Supreme Court opinion? I wasn't surprised. Disappointed, shocked. I think I maybe was surprised because even though while I had acknowledged back during the last presidential administration that this was a possibility with all of the U.S. Supreme Court nominees, I think I put it out of my mind and stayed in denial that Roe versus Wade would actually be threatened this soon. So it hit me in the gut when I felt it. I don't have wise words about how to get through except some words that I heard a couple of weeks ago that I'm still sitting with. The question, not just how many more bad things are we going to get hit with, but how do we keep getting through the next bad thing that happens? Because it's not just the one thing. It is still what's going on, the conflict going on in Ukraine, and how many other places it's spilling to, evacuated cities where people have left, mounting numbers of COVID deaths, and talks about the COVID orphans throughout the world. All of these bad things that keep adding up. I bring this up here because this is one of the places that we come for that grounding, for someone to lean on, for a community to walk through whatever the next bad thing is going to be. And I hope that we can continue to be that community for each other. All right. So y'all, I don't know if y'all know, you may know if you've been in my office, although please don't go in right now, it's a mess. But you may know if you've gone in there, I've got a lot of children's picture books in there. I'm a bit of a children's picture bookophile, fanatic, any of these words. Anyways, I love children's picture books. And there is a classic children's picture book that's been read to kids for nearly 50 years. Now, okay, I have issues with the book, but I'm going to give you a twist on it, which makes it a little bit better. The title is, Are You My Mother? It's a story of a baby bird who hatches into an empty nest, doesn't see anybody there, and goes off in search of its mother. Now, the chick, who doesn't have much experience with life, doesn't have much success, first asks a kitten, a hen, a dog, and then a cow, Are you my mother? Thankfully, the kitten doesn't eat the bird, but just says, No, I'm not your mother. Okay, then the bird asks a car, a boat, a plane, and finally a steam shovel. Are you my mother? At last, the bird recognizes its mother and doesn't ask the question anymore because the answer is obvious. You are a bird and you are my mother. Now, while I hope it's not as frustrating as this bird's quest, how often have we been on our own journeys and wondered, well, first I'll borrow from Jason's thought, are you my mom? Are you mothering me? But also the question, which I want to raise today, a different form of mothering. Are you my mentor? So there's a distinct difference between heroes and mentors. And then there are role models, which might overlap with heroes or with mentors, but probably not both at the same time. So I don't know if you've heard of Seth Godin. He's a marketing and branding guru and has a blog with lots and lots of words in every post, but great stuff. So this is what Seth says about mentors and heroes. Mentors provide tailored guidance. They take a personal interest in you. On the other hand, heroes live their lives in public, broadcasting their model to anyone who cares to look. The internet has created a long tail of heroes. There are tens of thousands of musicians, artists, entrepreneurs, social leaders, politicians. Okay, maybe not thousands of those, actually, probably there are. And there are colleagues to find and emulate. WWHD or WWMHD, what would my hero do? We might ask that. Seth says, I find heroes everywhere I look. I find people who speak to me over my shoulder, virtual muses who encourage me to solve a problem or deal with a situation the way they would. Now, this is thrilling news, he says, because there are so many heroes so freely available when we need them. But for all the people out there using the fact that some huge or well-known figure won't be their mentor as an excuse for inaction, there are a dozen who realize that that person's example is enough. Like a custom-made suit, Seth says, a mentor is a fine thing to have if you can find or afford it. But for the rest of us, the heroes might have to do. Now, I have to say I'm glad for the heroes and role models that I can find so many of, watching their videos on the internet, reading their stories, and of course, ideas in books. I love books. I love books too much for my tiny house, lots of books. But like Seth, I've found a lot of heroes and folks I live up to that way. Mentors and those who have mothered us and shared their wisdom and taken a personal interest in us. Mentors are quite a bit fewer in number, but that makes them that much more precious. Relationships, wisdom, and guidance were key features in the first ever mentor. Okay, at least I'm sure they weren't the first ever mentor. There have been mentors as long as there's been sentient life. But this is the first time the word mentor was used. Anyone know where it was used? Anyone? The Odyssey. In Homer's epic, The Odyssey, when Telemachus gets ready to go out in search of his father, Odysseus. He is visited by a rather helpful figure whose name is Mentor. Okay, Homer didn't, try to make things, too hard to find. Let's just name this person Mentor. They're there, they are Mentor. As the omniscient third person in the tale, we get to see that Mentor is really the goddess Athena in disguise, the goddess of wisdom, sharing that wisdom and guidance that she is known for. Now, it's probably a rare mentor that accompanies someone on an epic quest whose story will be read for thousands of years, and even the rarer mentor who's really an honest-to-goodness goddess in disguise. Most mentors are a bit more on the scale of real life, but there are still a variety of them. One commonly thought type of mentor is a professional sort of mentor, someone who specifically helps someone else advance or grow in their career. Sometimes it's a formal or prescribed arrangement, and many times it's not. Most often, this is what folks think of when they think of who a mentor is. Now, I've had a number of folks that are this type of mentor myself. In my first 3 years of ministry, I was required to have a mentor in order to progress through those years. And now I have an official mentor as an interim minister who has been a minister for more than 40 years. And yes, she knows lots of things about y'all. I've also had other non-official mentors and guides along the way. From my time as an elementary school teacher, I had a number of mentors, experienced, longtime teachers that took us newbies under their wing to help us find our feet. And I was thinking thrive, but okay, survive those early years of teaching. So besides professional mentors, there are mentors that maybe we might call life mentors. And when I've asked folks to talk about their mentors, it's often these life mentors that they talk about first. And I turned to my mother very specifically as a mentor for me after my daughter was born. Oh, and by the way, my daughter was born on Mother's Day. How much more mothery does that get? Her 18th is tomorrow. Seriously, she's going to be a grown-up tomorrow. But anyways, okay, so right after she was born, I turned to my mother as a mentor specifically. I remember the question that opened this facet of our relationship. Called her up, hey, how are you doing, all that kind of stuff. And I go, oh, Mom, how do you dress a baby? Here I was surrounded by piles of a variety of clothes, some more appropriate for winter, despite the fact it was May, but there they were. Diapers, okay, I got those pretty quickly, but I rapidly learned that taking care of my younger siblings and babysitting as a teenager hadn't prepared me for parenting. And so my mom became my mothering mentor in a way that all the self-help books in the world would not have been able to. She started out by teaching me, answering that question, how do you dress a baby? Because I had a baby sitting here. She needed clothes on, and I literally had no idea what to put on her. By the way, the answer, put on her something that you think she'd be comfortable in for the temperature. What a great answer, right? I still had to figure it out. Anyways, so someone once asked me if there was such thing as a negative mentor. Probably not thinking about a bad mentor, but rather someone who demonstrates what not to do. Know anyone like that? Oh, yes. I think they're probably more of a negative role model or an anti-role model than a negative mentor. Professional or career mentors, life mentors. And then there's one last kind of mentor I want to talk about today as well, our spiritual mentors. They're guides along our spiritual journeys, folks who challenge us and provoke us and help us find the right path. And there's something more, too. They also hold us accountable towards walking on that path with integrity. They might be dream guides, journaling teachers, or maybe spiritual directors. Sometimes spiritual directors are formal relationships, ones that someone pays for. Sometimes they're not. But I do want to point out that spiritual mentors are different from spiritual role models, or folks who are sources of inspiration, or authors of favorite books, or our favorite radio shows. Being a mentor implies a relationship, an intentional personalized guidance. Although I really hope that each of us do have many sources for spiritual inspiration and spiritual role models as well. Do y'all have those? Oh, I think you're just not raising your hands. Y'all are shy and quiet today. Goodness. So the question, are you my mentor? What is it that makes a relationship a mentoring one and not one of these others? Coaching, role models, heroes, and the like. What is unique to mentoring? At its foundation, it's a personal relationship. And as Seth Godin noted, this is completely different from heroes or even role models that are more personally distant. A mentor and mentee have that relationship. And it's a relationship where the mentor takes a personal interest in the growth and development of their mentee. Now, the question, are you my mentor, isn't really all that effective. Because if someone is actually asking that question, it's likely that they aren't. Kind of like the chick who went around and asked a variety of animals and then, objects, the steam shovel, are you my mother? The question changed into a statement when that bird finally found its mother. Instead of, are you my mother? The bird said, oh, you are my mother. It wasn't a question. It was, I know this is true. And often the mentoring relationship begins without the words actually getting attached to it, with the result instead being a realization at some point in time, oh, you've been mentoring me all along. You are my mentor. And it's usually the mentor that takes interest first and begins to guide, rather than the other way around. Although sometimes, especially if it's a professional requirement, you do have to go seeking someone out. Which is such a tentative question, will you be my mentor? Always afraid of the no that comes with it. Oprah Winfrey, who surely has hundreds of requests for mentoring, admits it's uncomfortable for her when someone asks her for mentoring, because instead she sees it as her initiation instead. She once said, I mentor when I see something and say, I want to see that be able to grow. But growth isn't easy. Those fabulous learning experiences, anyone like that euphemism? Yeah. It's usually a mix of support and challenge that makes that real growth happen. I once had an unusual moment when a hero of mine turned into a mentor for that one brief moment, and then later back to hero status again, although I haven't really told her that. I was in a UU theology class taught by Rebecca Parker, then the president of Star King Seminary, and largely the reason I chose to go there. We were preparing the first in a series of short papers for this UU theology class, and we were asked to bring our draft to class where we would break into pairs and critique each other's papers. This sounds great. You can put a totally half-hearted effort into the paper, and then someone else will fix it for you, right? This sounds great, and that's pretty much how we all treated it. Well, there were an odd number of students that day. Guess who was the odd person out? So, as chance had it, my partner to review my paper ended up being none other than the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. The mentoring she gave me over the next 20 minutes proved invaluable as she critiqued the entirely red marked up, she had a red pen she did it with even, paper and thoroughly tore it apart. I was embarrassed, but more importantly, I was embarrassed, that was pretty important. I was mortified. But more importantly, I was challenged, guided, and motivated. That was the mentoring part that came out of that. And she admitted she thought that I could take it, which was why she did it to me. From there on out, folks commented for the rest of my seminary experience and since then on how well my papers were written, thanks to that tiny moment of mentoring that Dr. Parker gave me. There's something that a mentoring relationship for the mentors as well. So it's not just this receiving thing, it's something that comes back to them as well. Because at its heart, it is a reciprocal relationship. Each side is getting something different out of it, but both are benefiting. My interim mentor, who's retired now, tells me how much joy she has in getting to see all of this wisdom and knowledge that she got from experience being able to be useful for someone else and getting to enjoy getting to see how congregational ministry can work again. One of my greatest pleasures is getting to mentor other folks. I love getting to see their growth and changes and know that I was a little part of it. To me, it doesn't even matter if I'm the only one who knows that. Just being able to see the difference is enough for me. Some might describe it as a sense of fulfillment or of pride, or perhaps seeing a little bit of themselves in the person they invested that time and attention in. So that's a useful side of projection. We talk about projection as negative. This is a good side. The attention, the sensitivity, the sharing of experiences, the challenges, and the reciprocity. Mentoring can be described as love in action, loving someone in a constructive way. So I have a story for you where I think all of these were experienced. This is by Jennifer Reagan Mccleary, as she talked about how her father opened her to the world of reading. She says, "I was not a good reader as a girl. It's not that I had a disability, I just couldn't muster the interest to tackle anything challenging. My tastes instead ran to the Archie comic books and the Sweet Valley High series, with healthy doses of YM and Teen Beat magazines thrown in. When my mother began to despair of my ever becoming a serious reader, my father took matters in hand. He said, 'I got this.' So every evening, my father and I began to sit on the couch in the living room, and he would read to me. This was our ritual. He'd read for about 20 minutes or so, and then take a break to prepare a cup of coffee. Sometimes I got to join him with a cup of tea that was really mostly milk. Then we'd continue the reading, stopping periodically to take a sip. In the summers, we moved to the screened-in porch. His hot coffee was replaced by iced tea when that happened. And in this way, we made it through much of the children's canon. The Secret Garden, The Yearling, Wind in the Willows, Watership Down, although why you'd want to read a downer like that, I'm not sure, but it's rabbits, so I guess. Treasure Island, Anne of Green Gables, Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Alone, I still struggled through the books, but listening to him read, I was able to savor them. And a large part of what I enjoyed, she says, was getting to sit close to my father, feeling his reliable presence, smelling the coffee on his breath, knowing that this time was carved out just for the two of us. That he must have enjoyed our time together as much as I did didn't occur to me until years later. The last book we read together was, get ready for this, Gone with the Wind. I'm almost embarrassed to say how old I was at the time because no other 16-year-olds I knew were being read to by their fathers. My father did for me what I couldn't do on my own. And when he finally stopped reading to me, I was able to go it alone, to read well and with joy. Mentoring is a form of love. A classic chalice lighting reminds me a lot of mentoring, the one by Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by the light of another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who've lighted the flame within us. Mother's Day is a time when we appreciate our mothers and the impact they've had on us. Let us reach out to those mentors who have mothered us as well. Let us think of those who've lighted and nurtured the flame within us and hold them with love and gratitude. May we appreciate the relationships where we are guided and the nurturers, lighting and even fanning the flame in others. May we hold those moments of love in action and those relationships where love guides us through. May it be so, and happy Mother's Day.
At this point in our service, we invite you to make an offering. And with our offering, each of us has the opportunity to recommit to making UUCB a strong and vibrant community. For now, we're conducting the offering in the sanctuary without passing the plate. Instead, you can either give electronically, or you can take a donation envelope from the back of the pew in front of you, stuff it full of money, and put it into the donation box which sits beside the fountain in the atrium. There are several ways you can give electronically. If you look at the back of your name tag, there's a QR code and a web address that will take you to our giving page, and also a number that can be used to give via text. And for you at home, directions for giving will appear on the screen. For everyone else, please indicate pledge or plate. We support our wonderful Good Neighbor organizations through our plate offering. Each week, half of our plate offering is shared with a Good Neighbor organization recommended by our Social Justice Committee. We're grateful that you've continued to practice generosity with our good neighbors through this very difficult time. This month, our good neighbor is the Berkeley Food and Housing Project. The mission of the Berkeley Food and Housing Project is to ease and end the crisis of homelessness in our communities. They live out their mission by providing emergency food and shelter, transitional housing, rapid rehousing, and permanent supportive housing with support services to individuals and families experiencing homelessness. Offerings of any value are always received with gratitude. Thank you.
There is a place for you at my table, enough room, enough for all. Quench your thirst, satisfy your hunger, share these gifts of earthly life. There is love for you at my table. Enough love, enough for all. Share the joy, share is love for you at my table. There is peace for you at my table. You are welcome, welcome, welcome at my table.
All right, we come to the best part of the service, right? The announcements. No, really, there's a super exciting announcement for this morning because I'm so delighted to announce that 2 weeks from now we have our congregational meeting after the service, May 22nd. Oh, come on. Yeah? Yeah? Come on, we get to, vote on the budget and hear about things going on at the church. And Beth, this isn't working. Okay, Beth Pollard, UUCB's board president, actually has an exciting announcement. Come on up, Beth.
Thank you, Reverend Michelle. Since Reverend Michelle will be leaving us next summer,
I'm an interim.
we as a community are about to launch a search for our next minister who will follow the talented Reverend Michelle. We'll start with the question, what kind of ministry will best suit us? This pursuit will be led by a ministerial search committee emerging from nominations from the congregation. UCB is so fortunate to have 12 members, highly regarded, respected, and also willing to put themselves on the congregational ballot for this committee, knowing not all can be selected. Please join me in showing your appreciation and thanking all 12 candidates who are on the ballot. Thank you. So, the Board of Trustees, drawing upon the results of this congregational balloting, is now pleased to present to you the composition of the Ministerial Search Committee. As seen on the screen, they are Ariel Smith-Iyer, Deborah Schmidt, Dawn Close, Greg Lemieux, Lottie Malik, Lorraine Schnurr, Sandy Portillo-Robbins, and Suzette Anderson-Duggan. These 8 congregants are asked to consider their own broad range of interests and perspectives, as well as those of you, the members of this congregation. The board determined that having 8 rather than 7 members will strengthen this range, as well as provide more support for the work to be accomplished this coming year. We will have an official installation ceremony at the May 22nd congregational meeting that Reverend Michelle referenced. In the meantime, please thank these members and also express your appreciation and admiration to the other 4 candidates, Jean, Liz, Patrick, and Paul, for their deep dedication to this church. Thank you also in advance for doing what you can this coming year to support this committee in its search. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. And thanks to the board for all of their work in selecting the committee and all of their deliberations and helping UUCB move towards this next stage. All right, shall we sing to finish out our time? Yes, let's sing. Go ahead and rise in body or in spirit, and we're going to sing Lean on Me. The words will be up on screen.
In your blue hymnal 1021. All right, where is it? Come on, give us a clap here. Yeah. Sometimes in our lives we have that pain. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on me. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you need to hear that you can't carry, I'm up the road, I'll share your load. If you just call me, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. So just call on each other when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I must write a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on me. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on me. So call on me, I'll be your friend. Come on, call on me, I'll be your friend. Come on, call on me. Just sing, call on me. I'll be your friend. Call on me, lean on me. Call on me, I'll be your friend. Call on me. You don't have to look at the words because they're not up there. Call on me, I'll be your friend. Call on me, I'll be your friend.
We have fun together, don't we? All our lives, we are in need of others to lean on, and others are in need of us. May we not only hold up those who have guided us and lit our flames, but also open ourselves to the possibility of others whose flames that we might light. May we share and experience the love that gets us through each and every day. May it be so, and have a fabulous week. Blessed be.
All right. Get into here. It must have been cold there in my shadow. I'm going to take it up a little bit because we've been singing a lot, so. It must have been cold there in my shadow. To never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory. While you were the one with all the strain. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful half smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. For you are the wind beneath my wings. You have to help me along, can you tell? It must have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it here all in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course, I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. Did I ever tell you you're my hero? You're everything, everything I wish I could be. Oh, and I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings. Oh, the wind beneath my wings. You are the wind beneath my wings. You are the wind beneath my wings. Fly, fly, fly away. You let me fly so high. Oh, you are the wind beneath my wings. Fly, fly, fly higher than the stars, so high I almost touched the sky. Thank you, thank you, thank love for you.